our value. Okay, this is what I want to tell you guys since week 1. And I was hoping to hear something along this line. Is that we are able, right, to visualize the world around us. You know, taking things at face value and process that and translate that into something useful and give it back to the world around us. This is the value. Do you enjoy this? Your room looks like this, huh? Or you prefer this? Okay? Most of us probably will say that we prefer this. Okay? Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is that there's a group of people in the world now specializing in what they call visual management. Okay? Meaning they go around to factories, to office, to look at taking this and organizing it into this. Now the reason why is when they do that, immediately 2 months later, this company becomes 5 times more efficient before than when they were this. Not just about it being presentable, but it's in an organized, systematic way. So that when you look at this, for example, immediately you know what you're going to do. Versus coming back to this, like, there's 2001 thing I need to do. Where should I start? Well, you probably ask this when you're here. Right? I don't know whether you guys experience that. You know, when you're rushing your project, you know, your table, your room is in a mess like that. And actually you go back to the table, you're even more confused. Yeah? So I'm just showing you possibility of the type of thing that's possible for you to do. Now if you look at what's out there, right? It's the same thing. The things we buy from the magazine rack, you know, you think what the people selling magazine, they just anyhow put a magazine. They don't. They actually know, if you go and ask them, they know exactly where to place one magazine so that it can move faster. Now, everything that we see around us is in some form of visual management. It's just that we are not conscious of it. So, without this, now you look around you, you walk out, and then you go out of this campus, then you go home. Tell me, is there one thing that is not being designed around us? Nothing. Everything that we touch today is being designed by somebody. But we don't know who. Somebody designed it, right? Somebody has put it through a process of designing the world we live in. But yet, who is running this world? Not the designer, no. It's the people who cannot visualize. They hire us to do this. Huh? So, everything that's around us, more and more so, if you look at the world around us, is actually moving towards this visual inclination. Okay? So your role in the society in the future actually is key, is very important. You're not just a dumb designer or dumb filmmaker. You should be more than that. So even like, you know, all the big corporations now, they are aware that an environment that is well designed would produce more productivity and efficiency rather than a plain old, you know, factory. So all the big corporations, even like Google, you know, they are heavily into making the place engaging by aesthetic and design. Now at the same time, if you look at the world around us, right, very simple, very boring place like the custom. Now it is for us, right, to translate what we see around the world into something simpler to understand. Because the ones that are not in this field rely largely on us to translate that. And they pay us a fee and say, okay, let's move on. Then they make majority of the money of the world. And then we go out and then, okay, next project. But, you know, we are forgetting, we are undermining our own ability, that we are doing this for the world. And the majority of what's happening around the world is actually designed by us, people who can visualize. So why aren't we doing more? It's because we are so happy in the blue pill world. Whatever you guys are studying now, right? It's a skill. It's just a skill. I keep telling you guys, you have to do more than that. Okay, you have to go beyond what you're learning now and go up the value chain. And the world that we're seeing is really up to us to translate into something for the people around us to understand. So a comics, for example, really what it breaks down to is the understanding of the 5 senses, right? And once you do that, you are able to then create a story around that. Yeah, so it applies to the world around us as well, that we draw the 5 senses around us, then we create a story that we can pitch to potential clients. So that's the type of ability that we should nurture ourselves to become. Okay, you guys have been saying this word for 12 weeks. Nobody asked me what the word is. 看板 is a Japanese word, but actually translate 看 is see, 板 is a billboard. That means a visual board that you can see. Now this word is actually heavily utilized by Toyota, the car maker. Now what they do is, during their production process, what they do is at each station they will put what they call a 看板. Okay? So the spare part of the car will be labeled here, which go into the production line. And for each point, they will pick up the different part to assemble the car. Now, once the first row is used up, the second row will take over. Then at the same time, everything feeds back into the computer. They know what car parts are needed. So immediately, they call just-in-time production. They'll produce, you know, enough spare part to replace it for the next day. So in Toyota, the reason why Toyota has just become the #1 car maker in the world is based on this system. And they attribute this system to it being a visual management system. That while they are producing, they are manufacturing something, they can see what's happening. Okay, so everything is, you know, has a board, and everything has clear instruction. Very often they use diagram. Right? Now the workers are not trained as a visual person, but actually at the end, right, we are all visual animals, all of us. So coming back to this, now if we look at the history of us humans, okay, everything from the words that we see. Now in this, especially the Chinese word, for those of you who understand, the Chinese word originated from things they see around them to create the words. They call 象形文字. Okay? So they will create the words out of observation around their surrounding. Okay? So oftentimes the Chinese word can mean more than one thing. There are many meanings behind one word. That's the reason why. So it's not just Chinese words, but you know, even like the Egyptian words, if you notice, they are all very visual. Even if you look at music notes, they're visual as well. Everything that we are buying today is barcoded. Okay? It is a visual language to some extent that the computer can read, but we can't. Okay? I just want to illustrate that how widely ranged in terms of the way we can deploy visuals. Now even Google, if you look at this, when they first came out, I was like, okay, use. But when this came out, I was like, wow,